Hello, microphone test. Hello, it's been a minute since I've done a 3D model for this sort of thing. Since I'm on Linux, I can't use the usual software and I haven't really looked into it. So I'm trying a new one. As you can see, the blinking is a little iffy. That's probably more because I have glasses than the actual software. But, uh, so I'm going to do a little bit of preambling for this one. So, earlier this week, about Monday, I believe, I got recommended a video that I immediately went, I do not want to watch this right now. I want to wait and live react to it because the title of it is certainly interesting. Now, for a little bit of context on the video before we begin, I have not watched it. I have not pre-watched it at all. It comes from a 185 subscriber YouTuber with currently 60 views, with the video coming out 10 days ago. And I know that like the YouTube dislike thing could be a bit off, but according to like the return YouTube dislikes thing, there is 1 like and 2 dislikes. So yeah, this one's going to be an interesting one. So let's actually go to it. The video itself is called "I Can't Take the Hate Around AI Seriously Anymore." It's by Hyper Chaotic. I have never heard of this person until they came across my feed. And so let's go through this description real quick. Just get our bases covered before the video starts. So, I've heard all the complaints and concerns around generative AI since the day it became available to the everyday public. And frankly, I'm tired of hearing it and just don't care anymore. Everyone is all talk and no action. Let me explain why. Background gameplay, Grand Theft Auto 5, AI Discord compilation, YouTube link. AI will destroy voice actors, then the gamers will cheer by Gary Young VO. Other channels, and then the timestamps. So, if it's not clear, this is a video talking about generative AI. And, yeah, I have some thoughts when it comes to generative AI. Without going too deep into the weeds right now, long story short, I am not a fan of generative AI. It is not great. And funnily enough, I've actually seen a couple of videos that are shown here in the thumbnail. Duchess Celestia is someone that I watch. Lavender Town is kind of bigger right now. And that Dead Internet Theory one is literally right here on the recommended, if that tells you anything. I know I've also seen the How I Got Replaced with AI by a Friend video. So I've seen a couple of these videos, and I'm sure that at least some of these are going to be brought up. So I'm going to go into this with as much of an open mind as I can. As said, I am not a fan of generative AI, but maybe this guy has some points. Or maybe he's not even going to say that generative AI is good. Maybe he has a different point. Like, from the description, it kind of looks more like he's just kind of, I don't know the right word off the top of my head. It seems like he's, not a fan of people hyperbolizing it, and maybe he's going to explain why he sees generative AI as a non-issue. I don't know. The only way to check is to actually watch. So let me get a drink of my drink. This is a 25-minute and 5-second video. So this might take us a bit to get through. Alright. Let's go through this. Let me turn on the desktop audio before I do that. Let me make sure I switch Discord to Do Not Disturb before I do this. I forgot to disable notifications on stuff. Hold up. Let me just, there we go. Don't want to get pinged
It's made with
with,
AI.
oh,
I'm completely okay with that because it was fun.
all right.
Yeah. So if you are an artist, this has been a really bad week for you. Do you think they give a fuck about this? Probably not as much as we do, right? I could be wrong though. I'm not sure. I'm just guessing. Artists' opinions don't matter. And even if the West is trying to hold this back, other parts of the world will do it and they will embrace it. And you can even see it here.
Fine, I'll full
Listen to
screen
these
it.
guys
In terms
talking.
of quality and allows us.
That's not a fucking American, okay? That's a goddamn European. Like, it doesn't, like, your opinion on it, like, just because you do it doesn't, like, nobody cares. And if the customer is okay with it, then that is the bottom line, right? And so if people see value in AI art and they like AI art, then they're going to look at it. And there is no amount of like screaming, crying, and shitting yourself on Twitter that's going to make a normie like care about this. They just don't give a shit. People don't care about the process, they care about the result. Nobody gives a shit that you know, everybody here, oh wow, nobody likes slavery, but everybody has a phone. Well, how do you think they got the cobalt from the phone? Well, probably not through living wage, you know? I'd assume that. And so these people don't give a shit, right? No, none of these people really care about these issues. And that's okay.
So Waldorf won an award.
Okay, so, we're starting with a line of clips from, I forgot the guy's name, but he's a reaction streamer that literally the only people that like him are the super fans of him. Starting with a lot of, clips of just, uh, talking about how no one cares about what, the artists think and all that. Not a good start, I'm gonna be honest, because all you're really doing is telling us, hey, I don't care what you think to the people who care about this issue. You've already started in such a bad spot by just telling people, hey, I do not care that about you not or wording. Basically saying, I do not care about your opinion on this matter. I don't think that's what he intended, but that is kind of how this is starting out. So let's go back like 2 seconds and go get into the actual video.
Okay, so Waldorf won an award for his sculpture of a woman urinating. Essentially, the idea that artistic beauty is in the eye of the beholder is kind of the prevailing theory right now. You couldn't just evaluate art and just say whether or not it was good or bad. This allowed artists to do just about anything and make up a reason for why it's art. But the moment AI art exploded onto the scene, the artists faced a major problem. And that problem actually had nothing to do with artistic skill, and it had nothing to do with technology. It was actually a philosophical problem. If artistic beauty is in the eye of the beholder, it is actually impossible to justify that human art is any better than AI art. Essentially, they had no way to justify their own existence because they gave up their standards over 100 years ago. And the lack of standards that allowed their artistic industry to exist was now being reinterpreted to justify that human artists were no longer necessary.
Yep.
Okay. I don't know what this clip is from, but I do want to step in here and say that this guy's entire argument, I don't know who this is. This guy's entire argument comes from the notion of, you know, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, which to an extent is true, but it's being used as an excuse of if beauty is in the eye of the beholder, then anything can be art. Therefore, AI art is art. That's kind of where this is leading, and it kind of ignores that a lot of like artists and non-artists alike tend to agree that the general definition of art includes the necessity for like a human to be involved in some way to create the art, whether that be someone using a camera to capture the scene of a sunset or someone painting a bunch of lines. It's usually something to do with the human intent behind it. And that's being completely ignored in this guy's explanation. Also, I paused on a very bad frame to do so. He looks insane. All right, let's continue.
They've used up all their remaining goodwill with the SAG-AFTRA video game strike, and now they're
SAG-AFTRA strike is a whole other thing that I do not feel like getting into right now. That was just a couple of unhinged people ruined that movement. So, there's videos out there if anyone wants to watch that.
starting to deny that the
Well,
audience.
the problem is that there is a general lack of empathy for people working in entertainment that have problems with how they're being paid and being treated. Because people view entertainment as a luxury profession. So anybody who's complaining about it is just not thankful enough for what they have. That's the reason why it happens.
We look upon a picture of paint.
I'm trying to understand the point there. I feel like I'm missing something. Is the complaint, is the point that he's making just a, uh, people aren't, I actually need to.
Luxury profession. So working in entertainment that have problems with how they're being paid and being treated. Because people view entertainment as a luxury profession. So anybody who's complaining about it is just not thankful enough for what they have. That's the reason why it happens.
We look.
Okay, so his point is the people complaining are in a profession where the things being made are considered luxury, therefore they should be happy for what they have? My guy, just because someone makes a thing that is a luxury item does not mean that they have less of a right to complain if they're being underpaid. Imagine if that got applied elsewhere. I work in a factory. I'm just like, I no, this is like an actual thing. I do actually work in a factory saying plastic mold injecting to be specific right now. Uh, and I've worked at some places like car factories before, like assembly plants and whatnot. So for America, vehicles are tended to be seen as necessary, but still kind of luxury items. So imagine if I was working at a plant that did some of the higher end vehicles that are considered more luxury vehicles. Does that justify me, like, just, does that justify the, like, factory owner paying me less and for me to be happy for the privilege of working in that factory? The answer is no. I hope that you're not trying to say yes with that. So that's why that argument doesn't work in my opinion, is just you're taking this argument of they make something that is a luxury item and applying that as a reason why no one cares on the living conditions or working conditions. That's just stupid.
We look upon a picture of paint thrown on a wall, and the artists demand that you pretend it's valuable. But when you show a coal miner a picture of a black square and tell him that it's more valuable than his entire career of mining for coal, when you tell a 9-to-5 office worker that he's uncultured and uncivilized because he doesn't respect the artistic value of a painting of literally nothing, when you stop considering what the common man thinks is good and demand that your art be respected through either nonsensical standards or even just blatant lies, do not be surprised when the common man cheers for your destruction.
I feel like I need some extra context. Sure, people sometimes do overvalue some pieces of art. That is not a fault of the artists in question. That is the fault, or it might be the fault of like the artists who made that specific piece. But that's more of an issue with uh like just speculators and traders and auction houses, is it not? It's not the fault of the artist if someone buys the art piece of like a black stripe on a white piece of paper for like $20 million or whatever. That is the fault of the artist, and that would show interest in the art piece, whether or not it's a boring art piece. That's kind of like, I don't know why you're looking at the artists in this situation of people who do more than just like splatter a bit of paint and just applying, my wording. Basically, the issue I have is that we're already starting off with the assumption that all artists are exactly the same, where they make low quality trash and sell it for an obscene amount of money. And that is just not true in about 99.9% of cases. Most artists do not get paid enough. And picking just like the once in a while art piece that goes to an auction house that gets oversold because of, who knows, maybe money laundering or whatever. Money laundering. Taking those as examples is just it's stupid. It's, I don't know how else to put it.
What's going on, people of the internet? Happy Chaotic here with a K double R, and welcome back, or welcome if this is your first time visiting my channel.
All right, 3 minutes in. Glad to meet you. Hopefully you have good arguments. Hopefully you're having a good day too. If you're watching this in the future, I doubt you will be.
Now, the clip or clips that I just showed you right there was from a full compilation I made a while ago from several videos of several content creators going over their points and thoughts about the negatives of generative AI. Now, if you would like to see that,
None of those clips that you played were from people who were against generative AI. I think that's just an error in your wording, but still.
full compilation and the primary points that I focused on within that compilation, you can see it via the link in the description down below. And if you would like to see the original videos in their original form, because they were edited down and mixed around in that compilation, they will be linked in the description of that video. Now, there's nothing really want to say about those points or really add on to, because I don't know what there is for me to say that already hasn't been said 100 or maybe 1,000, maybe 1,000,000 times over by now by everybody and their mother on this platform. And I swear to you, everybody and their mother is and has been talking about this ongoing issue ever since it became one, for quite a while. There's just nothing I can say that hasn't already been said.
You could say what you're actually trying to say, because this is extremely vague and you haven't even like said anything in this. Your compilation at the start wasn't even a clear like it has some points that are easy to debunk, and you haven't really stated which side you're on, given that you kind of misworded yourself at the start of this introduction. So, good try, I guess. You might want to work on that.
But that's not the reason why I'm making this separate video, including those specific segregated clips. No, I'm making this video including those clips for one particular reason. They are a perfect general summary of my thoughts on the matter, my stance on it, and why I just don't fucking care about it anymore.
Okay, so at least that's pretty clear. So his stance on generative AI is that artists are overpaid and people don't care, and he doesn't care. That people who are in the entertainment industries and stuff like that are complaining about it. I don't know if I'm missing anything, but that seems to be it. Just making sure to state this to make sure that I'm also clear. All right. So we have the stance. Is there anything else that's going to be added?
And just to be clear, I did care about the issue once upon a time. I still understand the concerns and why people have an issue with generative AI, and I have nothing against that whatsoever. Just want to make that very clear.
So you're making a video complaining about people who complain about AI, but in this part you're saying that you don't have a problem with people complaining about AI. Got it.
And for the most part, I do think people's concerns and complaints about generative AI are valid. But here's the reality we gotta face, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, AI is successful in every sense of the word, in every form of it for the most part. Not only is it successful right now, but it is thriving, and it is especially thriving on the internet. Not to mention, it's already becoming an official tool within content creation, both within the independent and big professional spaces.
All right. So you're starting off with it's successful. You're going to need to be a bit more specific on what you mean, because so far it's not exactly successful. It's gotten big, sure. It definitely has like a huge presence online and even in, say, some big media corporations as well. But when you say successful, do you mean like popular? Do you mean like sustainable? Do you mean like uh highly approved of? Be a little specific. Again, he might be about to say something about it, and if so, then we'll say something, but let's see what he has to say.
It's already becoming something that's being implemented into the media industry across the board. And when I say the media industry across the board, I mean every medium: music, books.
Wait, this is not related to anything that's being said, but really, you're activating invincibility in Grand Theft Auto 5 because you just cannot actively stay alive on a 4-star? Come on, man. Get better gameplay.
Every medium: music, books, comic books, movies, TV shows, video games, internet media, you name it.
Okay. I know I paused and interrupted the point, but just for clarity, he seems to be uh, gauging success by how much generative AI has been adopted in wider media spaces. So, if that is the benchmark of what he thinks makes it successful, let's continue.
It's already too little too late. Pandora's box has been opened. The disaster is out of the box, and you cannot put it back into the box. You can close the box, but you can't put its containments back into it. Now, this next part is going to be a very
Okay.
hard pill for a lot of you to swallow. But you need to take your meds and not give in to delusions. For those of you who do care about this issue, who are highly against AI, you're just going to have to accept the facts of one or two things. Now, frankly, I think both are a bit true. The first one more so than the other, more than anything. But the second one does still have a little bit of truth to it, and I'll explain it in a sec. But people are going to have to accept the facts of one or two things. Either A, the people who do understand this shit, that care about this shit, that are against generative AI, they're going to have to accept the fact that those who understand and care are probably in the minority. And the majority, that being the average person, the average Joe, the general audience, or the quote unquote normie, if you will, as the internet likes to put it, doesn't understand this shit and just doesn't care. Just like both of those creators in the beginning put it.
Okay. This point, okay, where do I start with this point? I think most artists do know that they're in the minority. After all, most people are not artists. Like, that's just kind of a given. So, that's already kind of a weird point. I don't see where you're trying to go with it. You're you're basically saying because the artists are in a minority of like the people who know are in the minority and the mass public is the majority who don't know what about any of this, the minority should not care? Is that what you're saying? I- That's a bad point. Like, just straight up. No progress can be made if people don't push for change, and sometimes a minority has to push to inform the majority. That's just a that's just a entire thing that I think. Continuing.
Or B, really I think it's and or B, the people who love to bitch about it so much are just a bunch of virtue signaling hypocrites. Because for as much as people like to bitch, moan, and complain about it, a lot of it wouldn't be so successful if you would just stop supporting it.
Uh okay. This point is a bit funnier. Uh are you saying that the artists that complain about generative AI are the same people that are using it? Is that the point that you're trying to make? Because I know a ton of people, like not even just artists, just people in general who never have touched AI, who don't like AI and push back against it. So this one is a I would like to see some examples, please.
How are you supporting it if you hate it so much? Whoa, dear viewer, dear hypothetical viewer, I'm glad you asked. If you hate it so much, why is it that I still see plenty of y'all commenting on the videos of AI content, even if they're hate comments? Because what you
Oh,
people got to remember, positive or negative, it doesn't matter what the engagement is. Engagement is still engagement to the algorithm, and that's enough to push the video through, to feed it. That's all you need. As
so the hypocrisy point is because people sometimes comment their disdain of AI on videos that use or is made by AI. That I don't even know what to say about this point because that's just stupid. That's you're complaining that people are hypocrites because they commented on something that's AI expressing disdain. And you're saying that that's them being a hypocrite and supporting it even accidentally. That doesn't make them a hypocrite. That would just make them, at worst, uninformed about how YouTube works. And even then, that's really it. That is not hypocrisy. That is just someone being misinformed about YouTube or, maybe not caring on how big and popular the video gets because they want to express their disdain. It's the don't like, don't watch argument, which is that a lot of people don't know that something is AI until they watch it a lot of the times. And that's usually why people will comment. is because, you know, they might get shocked by it, or they might be trying to warn others who don't know that it's AI before they watch. It's a stupid argument.
People on the internet like to say your haters are your biggest supporters. And I can't tell you how many times I have stumbled onto a AI generative video on YouTube, okay? Or even TikTok or any place on the internet for that matter of fact. That blew the fuck up. Thousands of likes, views, comments, and most of the comments are for people hating on it.
Okay. So, because you see people hating on it, the hate is what makes it popular? The hate is what makes it popular on this 60 view video that is more dislikes than likes? Sure, buddy.
Now, granted, even though it did get likes, it did get viewed by some people who do enjoy it, it is amazing how much of it will be supported by the people who just don't like it, who gave it a view and a comment.
Also, I should note that he brought up TikTok. TikTok, YouTube, something else. I did not. I already forgot what the third was. But on TikTok, you can't always exactly choose what comes across your feed, so you're going to give a view to it whether you want to or not. So that's also kind of a iffy part of it. A lot of algorithms will just push AI content because it has like keywords similar to stuff that you watch. And that's also the same for like YouTube Shorts as well, if you just browse the Shorts feed. I don't. But point is, like, bringing up TikTok for popularity, also stupid.
You know it's generative AI. You know it's no good. So why are you watching it? Why are you sitting there on it? Why
Don't like, don't watch argument, as referred to my prior statement.
are you letting the video play? Why the fuck did you leave engagement? You just supported the AI video. So many of you don't understand. This shit is our fault.
I You know what? I'm glad that I saved this video for like just a day after work, because it has been very entertaining for all the wrong reasons. Uh, no, it is not the audience's fault. If they watch something that is AI that was pushed into their feed, at best you can say they were negligent about their feed. But a lot of the times, this stuff will get pushed onto people, especially on places that are like TikTok or YouTube or anything like that. I already disagree with the premise of this chapter, and this chapter is an entire 5 more minutes.
And we have nobody to blame but ourselves. Or really, technically speaking, we have the general audience to blame. So if it don't apply to you, let it fly. Because there are plenty of people out there who just don't consume that stuff in general. They don't support it. So don't apply, let it fly.
Okay, but here's the thing. Even if it doesn't apply to someone like me or to someone else, you're still taking the time to take everyone who's against AI in this video and painting them with the same brush of, you watch it, therefore you are the problem. And then a half-hearted, if that doesn't apply to you, then don't worry about it. This is your main argument on why we shouldn't care about the generative AI stuff anyways.
But it still wouldn't be successful otherwise if it wasn't for the general audience supporting it. And let's be honest, we can tell the general audience it's their fault all we want. They don't fucking care. We can tell them that and they're not going to give a damn. Oh, woe is you. The content that I like is successful because it's my fault, even though you don't like it. Whoop de freaking do for me. Sucks to be you.
I don't entirely disagree with this point. If someone likes generative AI, they're not gonna just turn away from it just because someone else dislikes it. But I do have an issue with this argument in that it's kind of saying that, uh, like, people don't like it just because they have a distaste for the AI art in, or just generative AI in general, I guess. That they have an issue with generative AI because it's not to their taste, basically. You know, not because there's any actual issues with it that people have that are beyond superficial. And that's kind of an issue with this, like, just the argument already.
And as much people like to complain about how this hurts the independent creator and artist, like they said, the average person doesn't care. They don't have empathy for your independent or even big professional artists and creators. They assume that, well, if you're getting noticed, if you're working in the industry, well, then clearly you must be successful, right? Either you're making the big bucks like the big name actors, developers, producers, or at the bare minimum, you must have a decent, comfy job if all you are is like a cameraman or the editor, right?
Uh, okay. Are you just going off of the idea that the only people complaining are in the entertainment industry? Because I can assure you that a majority of artists are not part of the industry. Most of them are independent and do, again, as said before, most of them just barely scrape by. They are not like, ah, my head. It This seems to assume that everyone that's complaining is just part of the entertainment industry and not anyone else. All right, let's just continue.
But that's not true. Anybody who actually understands the behind the scenes of the industry a little bit, you know that's not always the case. Actors get screwed over on their contracts. Developers get screwed over on contracts and big bonuses. Sometimes they just get paid a simple minimum wage, whether a developer, a writer, a voice actor, or an actor in general, or even a camera guy. Just because they're working on big media within the big media industry and the project they worked on may have made thousands or millions of dollars doesn't mean they're going to get a big payday. Sometimes they might be promised a bonus, but then the publishers will try to find a way to skirt over that to not provide them the money they owe.
Okay, this is actually good. He's grounded in reality. He realizes that people who are in the entertainment industry can get massively screwed over. What's the but?
That happens a lot within the industry. I hear about it all the time within the video game industry. Don't even get me started on layoffs. People are not treated that well in the media industry. Not all of them
Correct.
are big time actors, producers, writers, and all of that. They're average people that get paid a simple wage like it was any other simple job. And I gotta be honest, for some of you people out there, for at least 2 out of the 3 of you watching this video, for as much as a good portion of y'all love to bitch, whine, moan, and complain about how this can hurt the independent artist or creator, it is amazing how many of y'all will give your attention to the AI content you hate so dearly.
he might not be done with this point, but I definitely have something to say if that is the end of the point.
But can't take the time out of your day to diverge that attention towards the creators and artists you're concerned about and do care about and do want to see some good stuff from. This really just comes down to when somebody sees something bad or doesn't like something
Oh, I'm actually going to pause and back up a little bit.
you're concerned about and do care about and do want to see some good stuff from.
Okay, right about there. So, I definitely have something to say on this section. So, what you're saying is the people who say they care about the AI, generative AI being an issue, should focus more on supporting the individuals that they want to. Cool. I actually don't fully disagree. Definitely support your small indie creators. However, you haven't considered that, generative AI not only can seep into someone's feed, whether they wanted to or not, they can still also support these developers, these creators, these artists, these cameramen, and still have these other generative AI stuff pop up as well. In a lot of people don't just like watch a single person watch like a video from them and that's it for the day. They might put on multiple videos or they might watch a lot of people. And they might be supporting a lot of individuals and they still might comment whenever they find something that's AI because they might be someone that looks for new people, looks for new small like creators, artists, video makers, whatever, to add to their list of people they want to watch. What is this argument?
This really just comes down to when somebody sees something bad or doesn't like something, everybody and their mother has something to say about it. But when it's something good, nobody has anything nice to say about it.
Man complains about people complaining and then says that no one says anything good. Me, meanwhile, praising a Roblox game about a month before Roblox decides to nuke its own PR. uh,
Like a car accident on the freeway or street intersection. Everybody wants to look and be nosy. Everybody wants to, give their commentary on it. Nobody has anything to say about the good drivers that actually pay attention to the road and avoid causing accidents and, traffic jams for the rest of us. We don't.
Okay, that one's actually making my head hurt. Usually people will talk about an accident not just because it's a bit of a spectacle and a bad thing, but also to inform others that there is an accident in the area because that can cause traffic jams. Sometimes it is just information rather than just gawking at something that's bad.
Praise the good drivers, that's just an expectation. Nobody praises the expectation. That's why it's the expectation. It's expected of you.
On the contrary, I expect bad drivers in my area.
And keep in mind that everything I just said here, it doesn't only apply to AI slop. This can apply to human-made slop as well, or just lazily made content, which usually is just considered slop.
Hello, yes, I am making slop at this moment.
Whether that be reaction videos, reality TV, or raunchy music, whichever one you may consider slop, at least.
Wait. I need to go back. Excuse me. I need to go back on that one.
That be reaction videos, reality TV, or raunchy music.
What about raunchy music makes it slop? Genuinely. Like, someone can make a song that is raunchy and it's can still be good music, you're gonna need. I think that's just you having different expectations than other people.
Whichever one you may consider slop, at least two of those would definitely be considered slop by modern standards.
Which two? Which two? Come on, tell me which two you mean.
At the end of the day, there is an audience for that. And as long as somebody's eating that shit up, somebody's going to continue to cook that shit in the kitchen. Everybody's complaining about the fast food burgers at the fast food joint, but yet everybody keeps eating it the fuck up.
On the contrary, I actually eat fast food less often than the average American, and I'm still unhealthy. But that's also the thing. Uh, that's just people not. Uh, this is the same thing where you're just assuming that everyone that complains about fast food also eats fast food all the time. Not everyone is going to be like that. There are people that choose to, either never go to fast food places or only go to fast food once in a blue moon, especially with how fast food has been recently, where it's not cheap and not fast. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm just kind of looking at this from a skewed perspective, but a lot of this video is complaining about people being hypocrites and applying it to everyone. Are you a hypocrite? Are you projecting? Who knows?
If there's an audience for it, somebody's going to be producing it. If there's a supply, somebody's going to meet the demand. I'm sorry, that should be the.
That actually, no, that's not how it works. Supply and demand. Demand is natural, supply is created. And if someone makes something, that doesn't make more demand. Not unless it's like something that blows everyone out of the water. And even then, that's just a case of the supply being extremely good and demand rising because of the product being good. The supply could stay at the same amount and not reach the demand, and the demand can go higher. I don't know. The tangent.
The other way around. If there's a demand, somebody's going to supply it. I think
Yeah, I think that is more correct.
either way works, depending on how you look at it. Hell, this even applies to rage bait content or in general, just general negative content or negative posts on the internet in general. Ever wonder why it just feels like there's negativity everywhere you go on the internet? No matter where you go, some feed is trying to feed you into the negative bullshit. Everything's trying to freaking get a reaction out of you. Everything's trying to rage bait you.
Honestly, if this guy suddenly pulls out the idea, like just says that this video is rage bait, props. I will give tons of credit if he turns this around and says that this video is rage bait and you fell for the rage bait.
Because that's what gets a reaction out of you. That's what gets the views. That's what gets the engagement. When it gets you heated, you got something to say. You got everything to say about it. When it's something you like, when it's something nice, you don't got much to say about it. Like I said, when it's something bad or people don't like, everybody and their mother has something to say about it.
I will say I've been planning to make some uplifting content, but it is true that negativity does get more clicks. That's with anything. I can assure you that this is true because I have a re-upload channel that is separate from like my I have a stream, not start bleh, words, I'm mixing them up. I have a YouTube channel that is separate from my streaming channel and my main channel. That is just one that I re-upload like deleted videos on, and that channel has a few videos that have more lifetime views than both of my other channels combined. So, and that's just because a lot of people get drawn into the negativity and the drama that maybe those videos produced. So, there's definitely something to be said about people being drawn into negativity more than positivity. But again, this is just applying something that maybe happens to a majority to everyone. Not everyone falls for the rage bait. Not everyone clicks on the negative video. I do because I like just peeking into random YouTube dramas. Although that has probably destroyed my mental state as well, because I have seen some rough stuff. But that's besides the point.
But when it comes to saying something nice about something they like or giving it praise, nobody's gonna say a goddamn thing.
I will. Soon, trademark.
Nobody has any positivity to give because, oh, that's nice. What more can I say? When it comes to negativity, people want to give their full blown mind. They want to give everybody a piece of their mind. Why doesn't my favorite content creator make more positive content instead of focusing on all this negative shit that brings all these negative vibes? Because you don't engage with that shit. It doesn't get the views. It doesn't make the money. And I don't want to hear none of that shit about why can't people just do it for the fun of it like the good old days. Motherfucker, if they're still doing it as a hobby, then there's no problem with that. But if people want to grow their fucking channel, then they gotta focus on what gets the views. That's it and that's all.
Again, not entirely disagreeing with this, but it feels like you're kind of mixing up your own argument. You're complaining about people being negative, you're complaining about people clicking on the negativity, and then you're also complaining about the fact that people want more positive content. You might need to pick a lane. That's all I'm saying.
Welcome to YouTube or social media in general. Okay, don't hate don't hate the fucking player, man. Hate the fucking game. Hate the game. That's just the way the game is, and people just gotta play it the way it is. That's it. That's all. They're playing by the house's rules, and the house is YouTube or whatever social media platform you're on.
Yeah.
And that's not even including once it becomes their job, their full blown career. Because once it starts paying their bills, it's not just a fucking hobby anymore. Now it's their lifeline. So they can't just focus on just the positive stuff they want to do, even if it gets low views. They have to focus on the views. They have to focus on what gets the money, or they can't pay their fucking bills. Or they can't keep up the quality and quantity of the content they've been providing to their audience in the first place. And that's another thing some of you people got to remember. If you want your favorite content creators to keep up with the same level of quantity and quality, if they're making money off of it now, ad revenue, sponsorship, or otherwise, whether it's a side hustle or main career, point being, now they actually have something to provide them a budget. And when it's their career, they get to focus more time on it. And it doesn't have to be divergent to other stuff like, well, an actual job. Because that is their job.
Okay. So one thing I can say real quick is your point kind of is it's a tangent. And the tangent is kind of defeating your own point earlier because content creators are creatives who are affected by generative AI. Maybe you just don't realize that generative AI lessens how much money people can get from YouTube because it like you seem to be under this notion that someone watching AI would take away from the small creators that people should watch. If that's the case, then wouldn't it be reasonable to say that generative AI also takes away from the creators who are full time and need the paycheck. If anything, you're kind of proving why some people might spread the negativity a bit more and talk about AI more because it's affecting their livelihoods. Although you might not have connected the two dots there. And the other thing with this is just like not every big content creator dives into creating negative content. As much as I don't like Mr. Beast, his videos are all positive. Or they intend to be positive, at least. Same goes with a lot of other creators, but Mr. Beast is literally the biggest one that I could think of. And he is like, what, the biggest creator on this platform? So, I don't know, ball in your core on that one.
Don't need to worry about your 9 to 5 getting in the way of content creation if content creation is your 9 to 5. But I'm sorry, that's it. Once it crosses over the threshold of being a job, even if it's just a side hustle, it's not just about the fun views anymore. It's not just about the fun vibes. It's not just about it being a hobby anymore. Now, they gotta make sure to focus on the views in order to grow. They gotta focus on the money to provide them a good budget so they can fund the videos, so they can increase the quality and or quantity of their content. They got to focus on that growth, and once they've grown enough to where they can do it full time, or that that's just where they make most of their money at. Well, like I said, they got to pay the fucking bills. They got to put food on the table. If they have a family, they have mouths to feed. It ain't just about your entertainment or your positive feels anymore. Boo hoo, your fifis.
So, how's that supposed to be an argument against like people complaining about AI? We're lost. He's lost in the sauce on this one. Like, I don't even know how else to retort or to what else to say. He's just lost in the sauce. Someone get the fishing rod and get him out.
Well, motherfuckers, their fifis are going to be hurt when they can't put food on the table. When the bills are due and they ain't got no fucking money. When the rent is due and they ain't got shit to pay it with. Once it goes past that threshold, it's not just a hobby anymore. They can't just do it for the fun of it. They have to do it for the sake of their lives because it's literally their livelihood. So for those of you people really so concerned about your favorite content creators, independent artists and creators, support them. Stop bitching, stop making excuses, and go support them.
Okay. What if the person is a content creator who makes money off the platform that's complaining? You know, like some of the people that you put into your thumbnail. Duchess Celestia basically is a full-time YouTuber, at least to my knowledge. I could be mistaken, but last I checked, she does not have a separate job. This is what she does. And she's not a fan of AI, at least not generative AI. Would you still tell her to can it and just go with it? Or, like, I could bring other examples, but point is, this is kind of just saying, hey, stop complaining about AI, support the small creators. I do agree on supporting your small creators, but this is not that. So people can do both.
If you're tired of the internet being surrounded with nothing but negativity, then support the positive content. If you got something nice to say, then fucking say it. Say it. support those favorite creators of yours. If you want somebody who's not focused on the money and the views, then support creators like me around my size who are still doing it as a hobby, because we're nowhere fucking near meeting the requirements of making a single fucking dime off it yet anyways. We're literally here just for the fucking hell of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. It's definitely nice to support someone who's smaller and just doing it for a hobby. Heck, I fall into that category. I don't make any money off of Twitch or YouTube, especially since I don't have a consistent streaming schedule. So I just kind of do whatever whenever I want to. And it would be nice if people also supported me. I don't disagree with the sentiment, but it's kind of weird how he puts it, because he's kind of saying, don't support the big guys, support me. Which, no, you should support me instead. But, in, but like, sarcasm aside, you can support both. There is, you don't, I don't know. It seems like he's in a mindset where if someone follows one person, they can't follow everyone. I don't know.
I am nowhere near close to making this a job, ever. Not even a fucking side hustle.
Same.
I have never made a penny off of my channel, and I probably never will. But that's okay, because that's not why the fuck I'm here.
Why are you here then?
Nonetheless, if I did entertain you or this was informal, feel free to leave a like. If not, leave a dislike and a comment telling me why, because any interaction is good interaction for my channel and the algorithm, and any criticism can help me get better. And of course, if you did enjoy it, subscribe to add a little dose of chaos in your life. If not, please do leave your dislikes, because your dislikes do matter, and I appreciate your time, even if you didn't enjoy it. I really, really do.
This feels like an outro, but there's still about 3.5 minutes. However, I will commend him for being like, even if you dislike it, go ahead, dislike it, and I appreciate the dislike. Fair game. I appreciate the honesty of you will take any engagement on it, and you don't mind the negative comments. Props to you for that.
But seriously though, please either put your attention in where your mouth is with AI content, or just shut the fuck up. But honestly, I don't think it's going anywhere. It's here to stay, and the general audience doesn't care. They're gonna consume what they like. So what?
This feels like an odd segue to your like ending point, because you did not. Your only real argument was, the general audience doesn't care, therefore why should the general audience care? And it doesn't connect to anything with the negativity or whatnot. In fact, I would say that your entire side tangent about negativity kind of contradicts that. If negativity brings in the views, then doesn't that mean that negativity about generative AI brings in the views and will be what people care about and what they watch? Just a thought.
So at the very least, divert your attention to still support the content creators you do like, that are human, that do make content that you think
I am not human, I'm a plushie.
is valuable and worth your time. If you want somebody that's not always spreading negativity, then look for it. Support it when it comes across your feed, instead of actually engaging with the negativity. A lot of that really is on you, the viewer slash consumer.
I will say, I am someone that engages with a lot of negativity with what I watch. I am a constant follower of art commentary and slideshow commentary nonsense. That circle is kind of a mess right now, but I definitely watch a lot of negativity. I also watch a lot of positivity. One person that I've been watching a ton of that's more positive is like Alpharad. I don't think he'll ever make a video that's negative in that sort of way. Though, maybe I'll be mistaken. Who knows?
And lastly, once again, if you want somebody who's not so focused on it as a job and more so a hobby, support creators like me. Around my size, a bit higher, a bit lower, even if it's never me in particular.
Shill, shill, shill. I don't disapprove of the shilling, by the way. I think it's funny.
Because guys like me are not worried about it being a job. We're not there yet. We're nowhere near there yet. We're not worried about that yet.
Actually, here's the point I'll say. If you're not worried about how big you get, why are you constantly trying to push for people to support you? Shouldn't you just not care about that? I mean, unless you're being a hypocrite. I'm gonna be honest, I don't really care that much about it. I just think it's a little bit funny. I would like to get big. I'm doing it as a hobby right now, but if I were to get big, I'd absolutely go for it. But that's just me.
If that day ever comes, then great. Right now, guys like me are doing it for the fun of it. That's why we're here in the first place. That's why we wanted to do it. Because our favorite content creators did it for the fun of it as a hobby, and they inspired us to do so. Or we just wanted to give it a try. Maybe it's a place you wanted to post your personal projects to. That's it and that's all.
I started by posting videos of Minecraft. And it's been downhill from here there.
Guys like me, we've always been here. You just don't want to support us because we're not big enough. But forgetting that once we get big enough, that's when we got to focus on the views and the money.
Actually, I'll be real. That part just sounds like salt. You don't like me because I'm not big.
I don't know how many people are going to remember this after this video is over. Some of you individuals will. The general collective will forget by tomorrow. The internet forgives and forgets, or never forgives and forgets when it's convenient for them.
I don't know where he's going with this. I guess I'm going to just keep listening.
Thoughts and opinions, let me know in the comment section.
Actually, no. I don't know where he was trying to go with that. Are you saying that you know, I don't know what he's trying to say there. Are you saying that I don't know.
Down below. Please put your attention where your mouth is, or just stop complaining about it. Because at a certain point, it gets sickening to listen to it when nobody wants to take action or take control of the parts that's in their control. Especially when the consumption of AI content is your own fault. Nobody forced you to consume it. And it's not hard to curate your own feed. If you're getting nothing but AI content, that really is on you.
Alright. I'm actually going to debate this point. So, curating the feed on some places is easy. For example, I have a Blue Sky because I can curate my feed and only really look at what I want to look at. Those mainly being like Pokemon, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, transformation content, and virtual reality social hangout news. There's not much else that I watch on Blue Sky, and I can curate my feed there. There's also not any generative content that I usually run into there. The only time I have is like on rare occasions where the more automated feeds just kind of pick up some tags. You can control your feeds there. On a place like here on YouTube, or I'm also streaming to Twitch, but no one's watching. So this will mostly apply to YouTube. On YouTube, you can't really control the algorithm. You have a subscription feed, you can control that. But the people who are complaining about AI are not the people that are subscribing to AI channels. They are people who are casually using their homepage to browse videos. And the homepage will have a mix of subscriptions, recommendations, and things they'll think you'll like based off of watch history. That's what recommendations is. I'm stupid. Uh, so you can't control what the recommendations are. So if it recommends AI, you have no control over that. That is just going to be on your feed. And on YouTube especially, a lot of AI content tries to disguise itself as being not AI. So people will click on it and then find out that it's AI. That's something that, you know, people can't just get all AI out of their feed and all that stuff if it's disguised as not AI. And I already talked about TikTok, how that one will just throw you whatever it thinks. If there's AI generated content in that feed, most likely it's going to keep feeding you it even if you try to tell it to stop. So I disagree with that point. And it's a point in the last like minute of the video.
It's your own
Why didn't you bring up this point earlier in the video?
fault. And it's the general audience's fault for the success of AI content across the board. Sucks to suck. That's the world we live in. Bite the bullet and accept it. I don't like it as much as you do, but it is what it is. And that's the way it is. HK out and have a good one.
Okay. So that's the end of the video. I'm gonna do as he said and give a dislike. There's your engagement. Hope you enjoy a hyper chaotic. Alright, let's pop back over here. Final thoughts. The video definitely was kind of funny to watch, that's for sure. The points in it kind of didn't link together, and overall it didn't make full sense. He was definitely trying to go somewhere with it, but most of his complaint was, you hate it but you watch it, therefore you're a hypocrite. Even though there's a lot of people that complain about generative AI that don't watch it, or even do what they can to avoid it. And yeah, that was the whole 25 minutes for the most part. Just that and, you know, him saying, well, you watch negativity, you should watch positivity and push for positivity, but people can't make positivity because they're bigger channels and need to make money. And, like, what point were you trying to make there? Do you want people to only watch positivity? Or do you want people to only watch small creators? I don't know what... Like, that section kind of felt like he was starting to lose the plot and started wanting to express his frustration about not being a bigger YouTuber and complaining about that. It almost sounded like he wanted people to watch him in specific rather than any of the people who are against AI. Maybe not even realizing that his audience is not going to be the people who would come from the bigger channels that people are watching because they don't like AI. Like, you're standing up for generative AI in a sense. And so the people that would like your video are the people that like generative AI. And even to that point, you've even mentioned that you don't like or you understand the complaints against generative AI. A lot of generative AI people aren't like that, and so they will not like your video because of that either. All this video does is run around in circles and lose the plot. I'm sorry to say. I guess that's just it. Thank you for watching. I'm going to head out now.